Hey, 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 hey.
Yeah. So, hey guys, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Yes, nice
Hi,
to see you
everyone.
again.
Yeah, nice to see you. Thank you for watching. Follow us, share.
Spread the world around, spread the light.
Yeah,
That's what
spread
we
the
do.
love. Yeah. So,
Yes.
so we've just come on and we noticed that Leopold and I have a similar hairstyle and similar colors.
I don't know. We must be connected to the same frequency, darling.
And the same hairdresser.
And this and the same hairdresser,
Can you
indeed. Yes.
imagine?
Mine is Lebanese. What about yours?
Well, you know, the last guy was Lebanese. This guy is Indian Kenyan. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay,
That's so
okay.
funny.
Mine is Lebanese. Yes. It's all good. It's all good. We love them.
Uh,
Okay. Well. How you been? How you been? Good?
Busy, 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 busy,
Busy,
busy.
yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. We must have to keep busy right now. It's although Mars retrogrades, it's still it's still good to keep busy. It's still
Mm.
good. Yes, me too. It's very busy before the festivities, also Christmas time and all that, and everybody wants to squeeze in a last little advice, a last little session, something, which is it's a nice energy. It's a nice energy. It's a bit also reaping what you saw kind of thing also. So I like the vibe of the end of the year and very looking forward to have a week off.
A week, just a week.
Yes, a little week off. I mean, it's not gonna be a full week, but just a couple of days where I know that I'm totally off. After anyway, I will have to go to work again, and yeah, it is what it is. But I still have a few days of Christmas time with family, and then a few days off after that. So it's nice. It's nice. Totally off. It's pretty rare.
And when you'll be working, it's for the clients for the hypnotherapy or something else.
Yes, I will until Christmas is gonna be mostly the office, yes. With the practice, hypnotherapy, a couple of sessions in astrology as well. As I do different collaborations with different practitioners that are doing some workshops, perhaps they have a team with a workshop, and then there is the option to have a reading also. If you're working on your development, or you're working on I don't know, your energies, or you're studying stones or whatever, and you still want to know more about how you're connected in terms of like signs, zodiacal signs, in terms of ascendant and stuff like that, or in terms of chakras and stuff like that, you can add astrology to so I had a couple of bundles added to different workshops, and some people just call me then through that practitioner or whatever, saying, I've just finished my workshop, and I took the bundle with the astrology at the end of it also, where you can basically bridge the gap. And so it's also a good idea for a business plan, if young astrologers out there are listening to us and just wondering how they can get out there and have some visibility. It's a good way to collaborate with other practitioners, and most of the times, of course, it goes through having a session with them and showing them what you can do. But then once that is done, and the confidence is there, then they can add, because it's very easy to add a bundle, astrology bundle, on top of pretty much anything. So you can
And
just
is yours discounted? So when you're doing it with a bundle for a workshop, do you discount the price?
yes, it's discounted. Yes, it's discounted. Yes, and I do that. I do that specifically since the beginning for visibility, collaboration, in terms of networks as well. Every practitioner has a different network, and eventually I just start to construct a wide web like that. And so it happens sometimes that I'm overwhelmed, because then I have my practice, and then some people are like, "Oh, well, actually, I finished this, so my séance is due," or somebody else saying, "Oh, my séance is due too because I finished that workshop." So it happens, but mostly it's good vibes. It's good vibes, especially in the beginning. We are still, I mean, myself, I consider myself still a very young practitioner, and to spread the world out there, and just get some visibility. It's a great way to do so.
So, no, very interesting. Thank you for sharing. So my question is to you is, give me, maybe you can share with who are watching 3 things you do when you're really busy to have some space between sessions, to have some space within your life. Like, how do you keep, uh, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. I think especially in the beginning, when you thrive to get things done and try to get your space out there, where it's very squishy and everybody's competitive and everyone is trying to get some attention. I think it's complicated, but what I would do definitely is, first things first. I'm a musician, so I tend to go back to music, crystal balls, some things that can anchor you. I play the flute. I didn't play it for a long time, and what do I have behind me? I have my flute, because that thing is definitely something you can learn and practice, and it anchors you through the sound and through the concentration to produce a sound through the flute. So you can cut out the mental zone or the stress or whatever. And what I do a lot also is cleaning the energy in the practice also. So cleaning the energy, having gaps between meetings, really giving myself the time to. If you're just starting and you clog your agenda, I don't know if you're going to do a great work, because you're new in this and you don't know yet your pros and cons, and you're gonna burn the candle on the two sides, and it's easier. And I still do it sometimes now, and it's been my 4th year in activity. So I still do it sometimes. If I can take only 3 people instead of 4, I would, you know, because I cater to myself first, and all my teachers told me the same. Just watch out for the workflow. Watch out with the workflow.
So my question is, how often do you play the flute? Like, when will you do it between sessions? What is the gap between people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like meditation. When you do meditate and you're serious about it, you can't wake up without meditating. You can't go to sleep without meditating. A lot of people say I meditate and then I go watch them go to sleep. They just go to sleep. This is not really serious. Like, if you know what you're doing, you can't switch on your machine or switch off your machine without having that check, without having that place checked. So for me, it's very important. Every morning, every evening, every person that comes to my practice, I advise the same thing. At least have 5 minutes with yourself in the morning, 5 minutes with yourself in the evening, to adjust a little bit. And then in between sessions, yeah, of course, in between sessions, if I can. To be honest, some days I even forget meetings. Like, it happened a few days ago, and I was really annoyed, because it doesn't happen very often. But I just had 3 person waiting in the room, and I was like, "How? What? Like what?" And then, yeah, it's my mistake, you know. So it's just that sometimes you just the overflow of everything is just too much. But most of the time, I would say if you can keep like 10-15 minutes between, you just have the time to clean the place, give it a good of fresh air, and just sit down a second, you know, just sit down a second. You're gonna enter into a new world of a new person with another energy, you know. It's when it's too much, I can feel it. When it's too much, I can feel it. And at the end of the day, I'm just non-productive. At the end of the day, I don't have time for my family, for my kid, for my wife or whatever. You know, I don't think it's a good way of life either, because you're supposed to still have your personal life behind this activity, you know, and it's good to be of service, but you need to cater to yourself, you know. So I don't know how. I have my moon in Gemini, so I have to say that I do a lot of different things, you know, and you are that kind of person also. So I'm not clinging on an efficiency in terms of my practice, you know. And again, I think that that's a luxury I have. But that's a luxury I have because I've worked all my life to have some skills, you know. So I think I'm in a good spot in that prospect. Yes, is that if you do something like, if now you want to be an astrologer and you just want to live your life off astrology and just that, it's super complicated, you know, like you're gonna be needing like I don't know, like a minimum of 3, 4, 5 person every day. You know, like I have one of my masters, she's really an eminent astrologer, and she's doing like 2 people, 3 people in the morning, 2, 3 people in the afternoon, like almost every day, like of the year. Like, you know, and she's been doing it for 40 years, you know. So it's just like, okay, she has the speed and everything, you know, but sometimes we talk and I'm like, yeah, but you know, what about you and all that also? And you give yourself, you know, as a servant, but still, you know, like your light is precious also. And if you don't cater to that light, you know, so I'm not that kind who will be just doing that and being doing 20 people a week just to survive and just to make ends meet and stuff like that. So I don't know, really, you have to know yourself and see how you can, you know, surf through the waves, I'd say. But because for me, if you do 1, 2 people every day, it's already a lot. And you know, just keep it cool and just don't push it too hard, you know. So that's why my days are very different. And I introduce a meditation or a flute, or I just go, you know, what I love to do also is I go jogging. I just go jogging, you know, and in the afternoon, I just take an hour after my lunch break to just be on my own if I can. And it's totally different. A day after another, things can be very different, you know. Sometimes I'll have 5 minutes with my flute. Sometimes I will just squeeze a jog. Sometimes, you know, it just depends. But most of the time, yes, is to go come back to my individual world, you know, and just cater to that little flame inside of you, you know. It's if you can, you know, it's not easy, but if you can.
Yeah, I think also what I take from it is interesting to hear how you do it. And I know for myself, on one hand, I need the grounding aspect, right? I need the connection to my body, not just my head, my body grounding. And I do that through exercise, through yoga, as well as writing. Writing, I find, just grounds me so much. And it also gives me that space between the world that is, and I can go somewhere else. So writing grounds me. And then, so I think it's the body, but then it's also, like you said, this the inner flame within, but I also consider it like the inner me, right? And that means like you said, checking in the morning. Sometimes I have to check in the afternoon. Like I just managed a 10-minute nap and I'm like, okay, what's happening?
Yes.
How am I feeling? And then, like you said
I
before,
forgot I forgot napping though. I
yeah,
forgot
yeah,
napping. I'm a
yeah.
big napper. I'm a big
Yeah,
napper.
really, I'm a queen of
Yeah.
naps.
Ah, there you go. Because some people can't. You see, there again, we are the same on this one.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big napper. I'm a big napper. I can switch off, and I know sometimes I feel guilty, but I know that when someone comes to me, I'm so 100% that I can allow myself as well when I can to just have a nap, because then you switch and there's nothing better than a nap during the day. I don't know why, but the nappers will understand.
Yeah. And I sleep, like when I nap, I can fall into sleep
Yeah,
for like in 2 minutes. At
split
night it's
second.
something else. But like this is like, because what happens is for me, but depends, between like 12:30 and 3, my computer starts to,
Yeah, yeah. The
so I'm talking
digestion and
to
everything.
people, everything, and I just like I'm not functioning. And like you said, I'm not able to actually hold space for myself, for my work, or for the other people. So it's like an act of
Yes,
self-care, but it's an act of self-care as well for the people you're holding space for, But
exactly.
but this whole checking in is so important, because especially when you're operating in this world that we live in, we don't often check every day to see how we're doing, because suddenly things can get so busy, and then after like in some several days you act out in a certain way or you respond in a certain way, and it's only because you feel like there's not enough time for you, or you're not taking care of your needs, or whatever it is. But the more that you're able to check in with yourself, then okay, this is how I'm doing, this is maybe what I need, and this is how I feel. Okay, I'm listening to myself, observing, holding space for myself, I'm going to do better, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. And that's the great side of being also a bit more independent, freelancer and stuff like that, that you can reorganize as well. Your agenda is yours, and that's a huge freedom. That's a huge freedom. And I must say that it's pretty new for me also, because I've always been an employee all my life. And I know that we are in a generation where everybody's freeing themselves from that position, with these bosses that are very annoying, or compressing you, or imposing an agenda. So it's really nice to see the world trying to find its own freedom and still trying to stay active, but in a free way, a freer way, which is super nice. And I hope it will stay like that for a long time. I don't want to go back to employee mode.
yeah. Yeah, it took me a long time to be okay with having a nap. And then it took me a long time to tell people I have a nap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Open. And
Yeah.
I get teased a bit about having a nap.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a few months ago, I went to a party and I met this guy, and I sometimes work from a co-working space, very seldom, but sometimes. So we discovered it was the same place, and he's like, "So have you been recently?" I said, "You know what? I love that space, but I pay for a full day, but I can only do half, because by 12:30, I have my lunch. I'm so sleepy. I don't know what to do, right? So it doesn't make sense." And he told me he's full-time employed but remote. He says when he joined his last job, he told them he has a medical condition where he has to nap.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So and then it was, yeah. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I told them. He's like, in my last job, I'd have
He
to
went
find
a
an
long way
apartment.
there.
Yeah, he went the whole way there. So then it was like a Saturday evening. I said, listen, even on Saturdays I struggle. I can
Oh,
either meet in
man.
the morning, or I can meet, at like 4, but in between I can't meet people. I have to have a nap. He's like,
Hmm.
if I have a 2-hour nap, and I'm like, yeah, even in Saturdays,
Yeah,
lunch is not a good idea for me to meet.
I think it's a natural, I think it's a natural diagram that we could follow, because for me, if everything is waves, at some point, if you had a peak in the morning, there must be a coming down, and for me, if we are working in the morning and in the afternoon, The siesta in the middle, it makes sense. You just had food, you just in digestion, it's naturally suggesting to actually have a little break, of course, maybe not exaggerating and having 2 hours break, but just having a little half an hour extra after eating to just sit down, have a nap, do something, relax, and to go back in it, and I think that in the South they do that pretty often, and it makes sense. It makes sense not just because the sun is too hot or whatever, you know. It's the same with the energy of the sun, if it's too hot, there's a reason why you will have peak energy in the morning and peak energy after the climax of the sun also, that it makes sense. It makes sense. And the sun represents also our digestive energy. So if you have a lot of energy to digest something, you should just do that. Just digest and use that fire to combust the food you just had. That's the symbolism behind also the siesta and the break, because that sun is the one in your stomach for that moment. So let it there and focus on that consciously, and then move on with your activities. So for me, I would be a good lawyer for the nappers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to know,
Oh boy. Oh
Um,
boy.
yeah, but it's just, it's all about, for me, it's all about quality rather than quantity. So just because you show up like for this amount of time doesn't mean that you're working well or your output is good. And this whole idea of like soldiering on, even if you're tired or even if, whatever it is that you need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So more compassion in the workspace, right? More freedom, more compassion.
For me, it's all about that and quality service. And at the end of the day, just work better and work less.
Yeah.
I think that's the motto, and you need more time to still evolve, still study. I study a lot. It's not just work, 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 work. Okay, but where do you push your knowledge further? You still, if you keep doing that, then you keep doing the same stuff for 10 years. No. You still need to study. It's a field where you will learn all your life. So you need as much as time of studying, then time of working, then time of resting. You should just manipulate all these domains of your activity. I think, it's not just now I know how to do a roof, so I'm doing 10,000 roofs. No, we're talking about energies. We're talking about learning the psyche and learning the myths, the symbols, the organization of the cosmos. We're not talking about making a roof.
But but with anything, you're investing back, right? You have
Mhm.
to, if you're making a roof, you say, oh, you know what, I want
I
to do a
guess.
sport, I want to learn how to do this because I become better at this. There's new technologies, I want to learn a new blah 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 blah,
I
you
hope
know.
so. Yes,
Um,
I guess. But it's easier when you're making roofs to think, okay, there's only one way to make roofs. I've learned it. Now I'm doing it. And it's easier to not pursue some kind of development. But of course, normally in every domain, you still have to be curious. You still have to learn what's new or how to be better or adjust, with the demands and stuff. I guess there's evolution everywhere. But I think with the fields that we are trying to tap into, it's even more subtle because it's like non-material, so
Agreed.
the responsibility, according to me, is higher, because then eventually, I could say anything and then let you go with something, and you don't really have the way to counter check or validate, or it's complicated. So I don't know. I'm that kind of person that tries to keep it serious, sometimes too serious. I don't know, but I feel responsible. Yeah. I don't
What
want
do
to
you mean by
be
serious?
sorry.
What do you mean by serious?
In terms of like really digging deep enough in the matter, or the knowledge that I'm trying to share, to make sure that it has some kind of real worth in the person's life, and not just giving some mumbo jumbo just for them to feel better and go home. It wouldn't be sufficient for me, but we enter into that world. I'm pretty sure you know about it, so I don't want to be associated with that world, because that's not what I want to do. In a very humble way, I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody else, but I would like to be from those who are really practicing something serious and deep, and really sharing some results with the people who come and see you, though. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
I hear you.
it's important, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't have the answers yet, and it's the beginning of the path also. And maybe in 20 years I'll say something totally different, which is fine also. I'm still learning.
So I hear you, and I think for me it's really about integrity, right? Coming as much as I like, taking each client as seriously as possible, taking their situation as seriously as possible, giving them the same amount of time, approaching it with an open mind, with the knowledge that I have, blah 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 blah. So that I find is very important to me, and sometimes I think it's a bit too important because I'm always trying to do things like, sometimes I think even my preparation time is a bit too long, blah, 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 blah,
Yes.
blah, right? And then on the other hand, I think when you're a practitioner of this type of work, but I don't think it specifically has to be this genre, but is I've also learned that we all have our own like individual journeys, right? So there's one way that you may do readings today, for example, readings or your therapy today. And it can be a combination of integrity, can be a combination of also like fear, perfectionism, all these different things. And then suddenly I find sometimes spirit is really strange in that way. Is sometimes you get tested and suddenly you have to work in a completely different way, right? So
True.
suddenly you're like, not a great example, but you meet suddenly somebody I do this sometimes a bit too much, but I meet somebody or I'm out somewhere and then suddenly I pull out my phone, we start talking about, then you start looking at their chart and you speak to them for 15 minutes, whatever. It's not really a reading. It's not the same way I go into the reading. I'm using more of my brain. But sometimes we get put in a position where suddenly you have to do like something really crazy. Maybe one day you oversleep from your nap. Instead of 20 minutes, you sleep 2 hours.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There are 4 people in your waiting room. Where's Leopold? Did he go jogging? Has he got? I think I saw him on the road. No, that was another guy. No, he's coming out of his resting from.
No, he's just
Yeah,
coming out. He just had a
he's just
little
coming
talk
out
with Buddha. He's coming back
with
to us.
Buddha. And then you're like, actually, no, I was just preparing for you. And suddenly you come out of dreamland. Within 2 minutes, you have to do this hypnotherapy session.
Yes, definitely.
And suddenly you do it and you're like, whoa, it's maybe not the same as how I usually approach the sessions, but there's something about it where actually I have the confidence I can do it within a minute. And actually I can use this intuitive gut feel part of my head that tells me blah, 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 blah. So I think
Definitely.
I think it's just a mixture of each time, like the craft changes. It can never stay the same.
Yes.
And which brings me to my next point, which I find, because I always wonder sometimes, like, how do other psychics work? How do other astrologers work? Because I think on one hand, is it that their approach to the chart is very different to the way I approach it? But I also think, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but I also think that sometimes people have a different way of dealing with energy, right? It's a bit like even in the chart, we can talk about water, air, whatever, mutable, cardinal, whatever. So I think for me, I'm just a more of a porous and a bit heavier. As much as I'm a Gemini, I think things stay with me for a lot longer. I don't have that dexterity of things going in and out, whatever, right? I know I have the potential to do that, but I don't know if I'm there right now. But I think sometimes maybe people's approach to charts is different. or just their energy, yeah, the way that their their psyche cleans themselves, where they're able to approach and do like 4 sessions, 5 sessions, or even some psychics that can do like, I don't know how
Amazing.
to do it.
Amazing. Yes.
So what do you think? What do you think it is that? Is it people's like makeup that is different, or approach, or?
I think for me, definitely the way that they process things, like this master I was talking to you about, she's Aries and she's a real fire, she ain't got no time for a split second. She enters into your world, she tells you what it is. She opens all the doors. She leaves you with the door open. She says, "Thank you, goodbye. It's that much. Next."
But you see, also, actually, today I did a reading for a Mercury conjunct Uranus person in Sag. Like, I think it's also that kind of Aries energy, but that Uranian, like Mercury, Uranus. You open up the portal, close up the portal,
Yeah, and
right?
you go.
And you
Yeah,
go,
and you
and
go.
it closes fast, like.
Yes. It can be, and again, I think that I have a fear that if I had that talent, I think that I would have been way too keen on having many numbers also. And in a way, deep down, I don't know, maybe it's a fear, but I don't like that, and I prefer to have a lesser amount, but just taking the time, meeting the person, having a little chit chat, staying human, and being like about astrology, but about life also, maybe sharing a little bit of my life, something I've noticed also when I met a few astrologers, because before even I thought about becoming one, is that I never knew anything about them, because you don't do that, because some practitioners are so used to giving you the story that they don't tell anything about them, and these are little things that I wanted to change in my way of approaching service, so maybe like you, I'm a bit porous and I'm a bit heavier and I do share more and I will share the feelings also, that's also something that this particular person told me, like, you ain't got no time to feel what they feel, like you need to go, like she's just this fiery energy, and she's like, yes madam, of course, you just have to meet the person, that's it, and let's go. And it's it would never be my approach, although she's really good in what she does. I'm just a bit more caring about the feelings, and I want to share. And sometimes, like I did this morning, with a person I saw, she was living in France and she was just sharing some things, and I could just, yeah, I could connect myself to her story. So I said, well, listen, this happened in my life. And I'm not saying you have to do the same, but I totally feel you. Like, I totally understand the decisions you have to take now, But from what I can see in your zodiac, it's really something you should really think about. Like, get into it and find the courage, because beyond the door, there's so much light. There is so much light. Your zodiac is telling you that, but I can tell you that from passing that same door, And sometimes I think it's nice from a practitioner or like a doctor, like I always see that kind of doctor. You have different types. Doctor that comes, chuck, chuck, chuck. Yes, madam. What was your name? Yes, thank you. Perfect. Have you done that? Have you done that? Yes, thank you. Goodbye. And then you have that kind of doctor that comes to you and says, I also had a problem with my knee and everything went fine eventually, And to have access to your therapist or to I don't know, I find that so nice that, I thought if I ever had to be one day that kind of person, I'd rather be that kind of person that you have access to, So it gets you a little bit heavier also, I have to say. Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, you,
no, it
you
makes you, yeah, go ahead.
no, you can go on. You
Um,
can.
no, it makes you feel like, I think for when you're on the receiving end, I think it makes you feel like I mean, the person, you're very vulnerable with that person, but it's nice to know a few things about them, so it gives them a face, right? But also that by them, the other person sharing, the person you say you're going to, you also, I mean, obviously not oversharing and not taking away from your reading, but you feel like, oh, you know, there's a human on the other side, and I have a relationship with them that is not just about me coming to see them and it's about money, right? It's like there's a genuine, like, heart to heart human
Yeah.
connect.
Yeah, and especially, you know, I would not say all of them, but like when people come to me, you know, they come to get some truth, you know. It's I'm not the kind of astrologer that you come where we're going to chit chat about will you have a green car or a red car, you know. It's talking about truth, you know. So most of the time they are really like shuffled, like seriously, you know. So for me, it's important to make them understand that I'm not sadistic or anything. I'm not trying to shuffle you up just for the sake of it. Like it's just like there's a deep humanitarian meaning behind it, you know, and that I'm with you actually, you know, and if you come to me, it's because you are that crossroad where it's uncomfortable, you know, and that's important. So maybe that's why also at some point I feel like I need to show a little bit of humanity also in terms of accessibility of my persona also for them to not just have like an entity that is cold and is telling you these things. And you know, it's not even about telling bad news or anything. It's just about putting you in front of the wall and saying like, yeah, well, now you need to break that wall. It's your wall. You just built it up. No, now you have to break it if you want to pass, you know. So usually the conversations are quite deep. So I feel it's nice to have access to your therapist as well, or your astrologer or whatever, you know. I do it for hypnotherapy as well sometimes when I can, you know. Like a couple of days ago, I just had somebody that was an autistic person, you know, and you know, if for me it's crucial to have that bond that is a true bond from a soul to another soul. We are two humans, and you come to me to have some kind of a help or guidance. I don't look at you as a client or as a few dollars. I just look at you as a human, a brother, a sister that needs help, and I let you feel that I feel you. I let you feel that I show up as a human as well, as a brother, as a sister. You know, for me, these things are very important. So a little bit porous. I hope not too much, but I like this, and it was very touching because that autistic person perhaps said to me, you know, wow, I never been talked to like that, you know, and it really touched me because I thought, you know, but hopefully in the new world you will, you know, because many therapists and many people start to understand the importance of going back to your heart when you meet someone that needs help, you know, and not staying in your ego and just being like, okay, I'm gonna help you now. I'm the guy who's gonna unlock everything now, or I'm gonna explain you your life now, you know, like because it's the trickster, you know, it's the trickster. You have that power now, and they're like, oh my God, like, yeah, talk to me about myself. Like, yeah, but first of all, we're just like trying to help each other, you know, and in a way, you know, that also in a way, these people are helping you also to understand yourself. And so it's much more subtle than what it looks like. So in that sense, the depth for me is important. The depth of the relationship is important.
Okay, so on that note, I think we always keep and try and keep it
Yes.
within a certain time frame. So I'm really grateful that we could share this and that I
Yes.
can learn from you as well. And our
Thank you
dear
so much.
listeners, yeah, thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And our dear listeners, please share, our viewers, please share your comments and questions and
Yes. Please, and let us know also if there's a topic you want us to talk about. I'll be very welcome to talk about anything you'd want to talk about as well.
Okay.
Thank
Ciao.
you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye,
Bye.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
Philippa.